he seems sincere for a fragment of someone's personality after their soul has departed this world. He seems sincere about it. Does he actually look like the king? Does he actually look like a fox?
Yeah, he's a gray fox. And I would say, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the gold minted Rinaldi coins, but I imagine his face made it onto a few of those.
I mean,
and it looks
we've
legitimate.
already stated that Anushka has not.
Yeah, but I have been around nobles because I'm constantly delivering messages back and forth to the palace.
Yeah, so he has that indefinable nobility about him.
Yeah, so something about the way he gestures, and like if someone asked me later, do you think that was the ghost of the king or whatever, I would say, yeah, I'm pretty sure he looked like a king and pleaded, and I couldn't understand any of it because I don't speak shade. But
Correct.
He looks sincere. Does he fade away from existence, or is he still hanging around?
He's starting to lose sort of tangibility. He's starting to fade a little bit.
Okay.
As he gets more and more sort of impassioned, but it's also as if maybe he's like caught in a loop. Like if you're seeing a video clip that was trimmed too quickly and it's going over and over and over.
Can I get a quick reminder?
Yes.
What did the townsfolk have to say about the shades of the forest?
Some of them believed that there were actual ghosts, and some of them believed that it was all just this bandit group that was, using the mythology of the woods to their advantage.
Right, but the people that believed that there were ghosts in the woods, were they like, oh, those playful ghosts, or were they like, oh, those ghosts stole my kids? What was the level? The
level was stick to the road. Don't go wandering off because the ghosts will
fearful of ghosts.
Steal your kids.
Okay.
Eat your children.
Yeah, they sound divided over what they think the ghosts want, but they seem to pretty much agree what's haunted.
Yeah, okay. I'm just asking because when the players' turns come back around again, I'm leveling a shot at this thing's back.
Okay.
Well, it does have focus. When I negotiated with it, I made it take a focus turn.
Right, but it's its turn. So whatever its focus is doing, it's doing it right now.
There's no line of sight in Ironclaw. I'm sorry, there's no facing rules in Ironclaw, just like there's no facing rules in D&D.
That's fine. I don't care. As one of the two people here that can probably still hurt it, I'm on board.
Yup.
And I have my own reasons as well, not just because it's there.
Okay. So this Anushka, while this thing is in the process of fading out, it's repeating this phrase, and it repeats it enough times that you think that you can commit it to memory at the very least.
I have one success, so I can do something. I could figure out something a normal person could figure out.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you could figure out what this means, but you could certainly. It's a repeatable phrase.
I was poisoned.
Yep, it's a repeatable phrase, and it looks like the way that he's gesturing is as if he's giving something to someone. Like he's extending his arms forward. It could be maybe like a bedroll or a blanket or a sword that he's like offering outward, and it's fading, and now he's fading out. I will say that Elrich, Father Elrich, if you'd like to take a shot, you may. Because that's the end of my turn. These guys are running.
Because my turn would be replacing my spell with the free refresh I get from the secrets to a rebuke, and then casting rebuke on this shade.
Okay, and I don't know if it's actually going to matter that much, but for my own edification, what will I be rolling? Resist with mind, will, and presence.
Yeah, I put it in everything because I know we all forget every time. Because
I appreciate that.
If you're playing a melee guy, you're not going to instantly remember what the spell's defense is.
Yeah. All right. Say 2d6 and a d8 for that. Okay, so I get 2 successes. Is that how this works? We compare the number of successes versus 3?
I believe so, if it's a versus 3 thing.
Yeah, that's what you do.
So it's a tie. And I am not such a person that I'm going to declare my leadership as rebuke. I would rather have that be as a rally if it comes up. So, yeah, I'm not going to go all out on this. I guess you've defended from me.
All right. And can you just tell me what you hope? What is the rebuke? I guess it's a damaging spell. Does it have any sort of like visual presence?
Well,
like
no,
what
it's
does it
mystic.
look like when you
It's
cast
in fact
it?
mystic. Gaston, as far as I know, is the only one who could even see me doing it.
Yeah. So if it's mystic, it's only you and the party who are hit have it. I believe it's also holy, which means if this is actually a ghost, it would take extra damage. But if it's a shade, which is beyond soul concerns, it does not.
Right. Okay.
But since it tied, conceivably
It's
it's
tied.
got range on me, so nothing happens. Gaston might
Right.
see me, wand out, something goes across, dissipates into nothingness.
Yeah, I mean the ghost is aware.
Well, he tried.
The shade's aware it was attacked, but it resists because a rebuke is you shout something at some Agility behind me or something like
Out,
that.
foul spirit!
Yep, and it does actual damage if it works.
But it did.
Cool. But it didn't. And
White
so
magic
the
is the
shade,
windiest of attack magic.
which makes some sense. So the shade basically just fades away, repeating this phrase over and over in a pleading manner towards Anushka. And you guys find yourselves alone in the haunted forest with the body of the late Tassobianco. Turns out wasn't a badger.
Yeah, who is this guy? He died in my arms. It was horrifying.
What time of day is
Yes.
I
of the night.
believe it's night, yeah.
it? So you just died in your arms tonight?
God damn
Maybe
it.
it was something you said.
Maybe it was.
So I'll swoop
I
on
did
in,
kill
and
someone, and I'm part of a crew.
I'll collect up the mask, and I'll look at Anushka and go, "Oh, that thing! It looked like it was trying to say something to you."
Yeah, but it pleaded with me and offered me something, but I couldn't understand it. Do you really think that was the king?
Well, it's a shade. It's some type of imprint upon the world of a way a person once was, not their
But it
true
was the lifelike.
personality.
It could react to us, and it looked like it was saying something that made some sort of sense.
Undoubtedly, it has its own will and maybe even its own agenda.
So
I
But
think-
if it was aligned with the bandits,
I think to cast aspersions on the former King Rinaldi as to say that he was so unworthy as to not have ascended into the holy light is not something that we should bring into thought.
I don't like these woods. They're creeping me out.
Gaston, you seem hurt. Would you join me in a moment of prayer?
I will.
All right, recover
I'll agree in a
from...
moment of prayer, too.
Let us all now remember the divine sacrifice of Saint Heloise in that moment that she prayed to the holy light as it visited her at the now location of the cathedral, Tassobianco Point.
Wasn't she also the one with the story about the frog?
What?
No, I swear I remember it. A local tale. Never mind.
I don't know. The frogs are far out to the west. I don't believe that they had visited Calabria by that time. Frogs,
Cultural
toads.
bleeding, then.
I don't know. Personally, I do not share in the belief that they are unholy as natural as the kingdom of Sangal does.
It's very strange, of course.
I suppose that's an argument for upbringing.
For another time.
Now back to the prayer.
Shut up. Don't interrupt.
I slapped his hand with a ruler.
Ah. Now we engage in
right.
true 5 minutes of silence.
Exactly. Everyone a moment of reflection. That's excellent, by the way. If we were playing with inspiration, I'd be handing it out for that. Because I'm loving the role play. It's killer. It's a high bar you set there. All right. And
So
Connor,
I guess-
how are you feeling over there, Connor? You were reeling, but you didn't actually end up taking damage, or you took damage, but then you were healed by
Yes.
the father.
So that green dot is guarding, purple is reeling, so after the fight he's fine.
Gotcha. And what is your take on all this? Have you encountered shades before, Sir Connor?
I would say this would be his first. So he's probably confused and would like to know more about what Anushka had gleaned from it, but he's more concerned with the job at hand than what some spectral imposter had to say.
Well, we do have the man's body here. If he left any sort of notes on himself, well, we should see. What does this person have on him?
All right, that's a good question. So you've got the bone mask. You have apparently he's wearing robes of green and purple. He has a cognizance trappings, essentially.
Cognoscenti trappings. The amulet, the staff, the wand, a book.
Book is
Swiping
expensive.
up the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Book.
Hey, everyone, new book.
I mean, if you were looking to become a cognoscente, you'd probably just steal everything.
I'll just have
There you
every
go.
magical gift, yeah.
Although, do keep in mind that if we need to prove that it is who it really is, we might need proof of their career.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that they might need the expensive items.
Right, so we were collecting those up anyway. But
Yeah.
he doesn't have, like, a journal.
Actually, so he does have a journal. In addition to his cognoscenti book, he has
Amazing.
a thin portfolio of sorts that has been written in a rather practiced hand. How many of you guys can read over here?
All of us except for Anushka can.
Gotcha.
Ironically.
It makes them a good messenger.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it also means that we will read cursed script or whatever. Someone will be there to slap us awake.
So yeah, he has it's a thin journal. It looks like it only goes back maybe a week or two. Probably was the most recent in a collection of these that he had been keeping. At a cursory glance, seems like it's just his own personal musings, but it does mention the ongoing missions that he has been staging, the raids that he has staged against the travelers passing through here, as well as keeping morale up of his bandit, the revenants, his bandit team.
Mm-hmm.
And you do catch pages where he is referring to His Majesty, obviously this king, and his attempts to decipher the king's meaning, which you assume is this shade, since a lot of the effort has gone into, like, what does he mean? What is he trying to convey? This seems to have basically taken up most of Tasso's time and thoughts.
Right. So, what does he think the shade wanted? Or was about? And was he using this as, like, his excuse for continued banditry? It's like, yes, I'm serving the old king, and therefore I'm going to become a rebel now.
Oh, most certainly.
Oh boy.
He seems to think that he's on a mission, essentially, from the king. There's no mention of his life before the bandit attacks, but you can see that, like, in all of his decision making, he defers to the king's judgment. So whether this is just to alleviate his guilt over attacking people, or if he truly believes that he's on a mission from the king, he seems to be writing it in earnest. The actual king's motives, these are difficult to understand, and even for Tasso, who spoke with him regularly, it seems. But you learn a few key pieces of information when you have an opportunity to really like this journal. And those are... the king seems to be convinced that he was murdered, that there was a conspiracy, a plot against him and his line. He believes that his grandson, the tragically departed Fabrizio, is still alive somewhere. And he keeps referring to an heirloom, a powerful item that needs to be recovered from an area of the wood that, that Tassobianco says in his writing, he was resistant to explore. There's apparently areas of this woods that even the those that live there refuse to travel to. And in one such area, there is this item. But the men of his that he sent to reclaim it were all killed. They did not return, and their bodies were not found.
I always love that. No one returned. They're all dead. Not is a fabulous paradise there that no one ever wants to come back from.
Exactly.
I know, always jumping to conclusions like that.
They found
the
utopia.
peasantry.
And of course, everyone that finds utopia never wants to return. Well, this is our cart over here, right?
That possibility seems to have escaped
that's
him.
our cart.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's our cart, we should probably just go ahead and toss the corpse of Tassobianco into it and make our way back to to Triskellion.
That would not be a bad idea.
Well, it's our mission.
I suppose if there was any truth to be found, though, in the shade, it would be found at this neck of the woods mentioned here. But again, no one's returned from that. That doesn't bode well to going to investigate.
I mean, it's not our mission. Additionally, I do not think this was the former king. Again, to suggest as such is to defame the former king by saying that he was incapable of ascension.
Well, I am curious, and it does say that there's some sort of heirloom of power out there, so maybe it could be interesting.
Nothing prevents you from returning once we have accomplished our task as appointed to us by the pontiff.
That is technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
Connor, Anuska, what do you think?
I know nothing of the supernatural dealings, so I would rather just turn in the proof of our completed work and be rewarded.
I agree with the noble. Is a phrase I say a lot.
Additionally, the town that we had just come from, their lives are counted by the days, so the sooner we return, the sooner they are put to sleep.
Yeah, there's that whole thing of the king said if we can't resolve this issue, then they'll raise the village to the ground. Yeah, I'm thinking we should probably go back. I suppose we need to bring this body with us.
Yeah, that's what we said. We're going to load it into the cart.
Yeah, we have a cart here. We even had a couple of people pretending to be guards who went and ran away. Now that they've come back, they can carry the body for us to the cart.
Yeah, useless. Did we actually hire them as men-at-arms, or are they just coachmen?
We did.
I think you guys did spend, money exchanged hands.
Yeah, we hired the cheapest people we could.
How much did... Yeah, I mean, so we didn't hire combatants.
No.
I think they were unskilled labor, is what we hired.
Yeah, unskilled labor.
Yeah.
Combatants are skilled labor.
And I believe, I don't know, I think Connor was the one who paid for them.
Pretty sure.
But I imagine it was like a denarii a day, right?
Unskilled labor is a
person.
dinar a day. I'm not sure we want somebody driving the coach who's unskilled labor. We pretty much need somebody who actually has vehicles to do it.
Well, we have somebody who drove us here to begin with, somebody that was already skilled.
All right.
Yeah, that guy stuck around. He works for he works for the church.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll go gather up our henchmen and
on the ride back, I would like to take Tassobianco's diary and just read it in depth. If I could make a mind and academics roll or something like that to further suss out any hidden information. Maybe he wrote the king's words in code or something like that. Like Bible code, basically, right? Like it reads normal, but every third letter you pull out is actually a secret.
Right.
Okay.
So long-term reading project there.
Yeah, well, I mean, for as long as it takes to ride home in.
Yeah, which is going to be several days. So that's a fine project.
Success roll. I just roll in advance. But whenever that actually comes out, you'll let me know.
I'm going to roll a d6 to assist you. I don't. I break my own brain.
You know, with a crit fail, that's probably a just get away from me, son. I've got this.
No, let me
me.
do it. I understand this better than you do.
Get away from me.
Oh man, that's great.
Give me time by myself. Give me time.
Just a wingy slap fight right now.
You can have it when I'm done, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I don't have wings, so.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm using.
attacking with
So
wings,
you're just slapping
defending,
me, is what you're
countering, natural weapons. All right. Okay, cool. That is noted, and I'm going to actually call for a quick break while I recover, because I didn't expect you guys to kill Tasso and have
Yeah,
no way to
I
communicate with the
realized,
shade.
like, as we
So-
were doing it, it's like we're definitely going off script here a bit for you.
So
It doesn't
you
matter how well
suck.
you plan.
I'm
Sooner or
so
later,
hard.
sooner or later, the dice will get you. So that's fine.
The
But yeah,
problem was we didn't have proof that this was really the shade of the king, so we were just taking it on the word of a murderer.
oh, completely.
I mean, additionally, your priest here has the very, very belief that the king would have been worthy of ascension, and you're saying that the shade, a creature bound to the earth due to his inability to ascend, it's problematic. A problematic
It is.
thing.
No, I think you guys are playing this to the hilt. I don't think it's any fault of the party logic. It's just a combination of dice and being poorly prepared. But we're going to press on. We can make
Right.
this work. But just give me a quick 5-minute break and pick up right where we left off with
Okay.
Father Eldritch's investigations of the journal. And I will be right back.
And then if they took enough damage, they might roll to pass out or die. And that's like 5 to 7 die rolls every time someone was hit. So that's gone. So I love anybody who says how much they thought Ironclaw First Edition was better than Second Edition. Thank you, you guys flatter us. But no one wants to do that. It even had the quick, normal, and deliberate system from Rollmaster. We were Rollmaster fans. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so you had the initiative where the round went off because it is Rollmaster would divide the round up into what I said: the quick, normal, and sorry, Cat, and deliberate. So at the beginning of your round, you said what you were going to do, and then we did all the quick people, we did all the normal people, and we did all the deliberate people. That's all gone. If you thought this game could be a little slow, you should see Ironclaw First Edition.
I actually think, like, at least the current Cardinal system goes by pretty quickly, honestly, which is good.
Oh, yeah. First edition, we had to go through each rank of initiative 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's why I mean, what we did was we spent a lot of time, and also my advice to new game designers is think about, like, realistically how much time it would take to do things. Because I remember there was one video, I'm always making fun of this video, where this guy said, if your players shouldn't take more than 10 seconds to decide their entire turn. And, like, I'm going, what planet is this guy on? Because there's a lot of games out there that I think just don't realistically look at how long it would take you to move all of these pieces and gather up dice and roll them and then play out their effects. It's really easy to just stack all of these rules on top of each other. And what you wind up with no one's doing them. Like, I've seen these games that have like 20 or 30 like rules and no one does them. Like, it even goes back to like I've seen a 20-page essay on Dungeons and Dragons First Edition trying to explain the initiative rules.
Wow.
Just if you tried to play D&D the way it was written, the initiative rules are contradictory, don't make sense, and there's 20 pages of just who goes first.
Yeah.
So everyone was doing something different because no one's doing it as written. So no, our goal was we want to strip the game down. And so you can see also in this game, and later versions, we're stripping it down even more. I mean, Griffin and Arkloyd here are veterans of Urban Jungle, which strips it down even more.
That's something I'd like to check out, actually, too. And that's
Right,
it's an important consideration.
Back on the menu. Got it.
So yeah, it's an important consideration. If your rules aren't graspable and are, if they're overly complicated, then people aren't going to use them, and then
Yeah, I mean, you get it. It's something I've been saying recently is the rule that's not in play is not a rule. It's but there's a tendency for people to assume that the rulebook has to be huge. It's a role playing game. We have to have hundreds of pages of rules, or it's not a role playing. We're not going to use these rules. We just want them to be there.
Exactly, and that's why it's interesting to see, like, new systems that are mostly, I think they're mostly diverging. They're trying to diverge from like the D&D approach, but you see them. And you had mentioned like the Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, where it's a lot like
we make some
they're all
of those.
bundled, you know. Cool. And I think that's great. It's a cool direction, especially when you play with a lot of people who have only ever played D&D and don't realize there's a lot of other ways to do stuff. But that's a whole other conversation. So let's get back to it. You guys make the journey back to Triskellion with the corpse of Tassobianco. Father Eldritch, you spend time poring over his journal. Looking
before we get too far,
Yes.
did you guys want me to go back to, just in case something untoward happens to you, do you want me to rush ahead and announce the coming?
Right, rush ahead, announce the coming, say we've done it, and get the wheels turning. Then when we get there, it starts moving. Yeah.
I thought we proved that you were bad at announcing for Connor.
No, I'm a messenger.
Exactly. So the messenger goes and sends the message back. It's perfect.
Right. So one of you needs to write a letter. Connor needs to stamp it because he's the noble, and I'll take it back.
Gaston will write out a quick letter of, "We did it. He's dead. The town shouldn't burn. Signed, Gaston."
Right. And then, oh,
Sincerely
Gaston,
yours.
right. Yeah. And then you get your signet ring and stamp it. And I'll write it, and I'll go ahead and take that back. I have all the necessary skills to get somewhere very quickly.
Yeah. Would you like to make a roll then? In that case.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see. I had
All right.
this
So
prepared.
that's normally long distance travel is normally endurance.
Sorry, before you make your roll, can I write a second letter for you to deliver while you're there?
Sure, I can carry two as well as one.
Sorry. Who do you speak to if you wish to seek an audience with the king?
Oh, I guess that's a good question.
Usually, you send it to the palace.
All right. I send a letter to the palace.
I mean, you address the letter to the king, but I know where to take it because there'll be
Because it's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah, that's my job. I know where the palace is.
One hopes.
So, right.
So
you
yeah,
would
so
address the letter to His Excellency. I don't know what's in the letter.
You can't read.
So, yep, but that's okay. I wouldn't read it.
Always be a suspect of the kill the messenger letters.
Mhm.
Okay, so normally fast travel is endurance.
I had. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so that's endurance. I have the gift of hiking, which is D12 for long distance travel. Dead Reckoning, which is an extra D12 to navigate simply by using landmarks and not having to read a map. And then I have geography, which is knowledge of long distances, which is a bonus 3D12 to this entire thing.
Damn.
It's like I'm good at it.
Yeah, well, let's roll that. I'd say body, endurance, and all your bonuses.
Force it, whoosh,
Whoosh.
gone. It's like I'm good at this.
Exactly. All right. Now this is something where I don't have a lot of experience considering like flight travel versus land speed travel, but I had imagined that with this many successes, you'd be able to make it from Mage Cross to Triskellion and back in a day. It would be a full day of travel, and you guys are already on the road.
The way the map is set up, each square on the map is about 6 leagues, and 6 leagues is about as far as you could go in one day, in like 8 hours of hard travel. But as a bat, I can go twice as fast, and I can also ignore sky travel is considered ideal. It's like better, it's not half because of roads or anything like that. So basically I would, and I can do a double shift because I can get 4 successes on this. So I could basically get back to town, in about 16 hours of hard travel.
Right. And you've got one message to deliver to the Archbishop and one to deliver to the palace directly.
And if you doubt any of this, also I have favorite use in long distance travel, so I get to reroll on 1. So I have 6 successes. Anushka is good at her job.
Apparently, she's been built for this purpose, and she's kicking ass.
Whoosh.
So whoosh. The rest of you travel along the road. Anushka rejoins you on like probably like the beginning of the second day of your journey back.
Yeah, assuming you guys
Letters.
took the road, because if you tracking, I don't have. So so if you were not on the road, I would have completely lost.
I don't know why we wouldn't have.
Yeah, I'm assuming you are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's yeah. So, Father Elrich, you had been poring over this journal, and you had found that there was indeed hidden information in it. He makes references several times to a map in the writing, but there doesn't seem to be any map. But upon investigation, and as you guys are basically approaching the gates of Triskellion, you discover this, that there is sort of like a coded map hidden within the pages of this thing. It's basically a written set of instructions for navigating through the haunted wood to specific areas of importance. One of them you're fairly sure is probably Tasso's base camp of operation. And then the other one is a site of great importance, but that also seems to be haunted. It's mentioned that it's dangerous, and you think that this might be the site which he had been sending his troops to recover this heirloom that none had returned from.
I'm assuming that since the carriage has been supplied by the church, supplied by the church, that it also has like the ink and supplies and everything. Since we all have been writing letters, and I'm assuming that none of us have actually bought parchment or anything.
Yeah,
I did.
for this endeavor, all of these needs have been taken care of.
Right. So I am, since we're right at the gates, you say, as quickly as possible, going to scribe out a second copy. Not of the, obviously not of the entire journal, but of the map, as best as possible. That is, or the directions that the map describes, to both on two different sheets of parchment, one to the lair and one to this hidden area of which nobody ever returns.
Oh, all right. Okay. And those are also going to the palace, I assume, right?
No, those are going to stay on me. Well, if I'm going to the palace, then technically, yes.
Right. That's a good question. You guys, you know what? I assume that you've been given instruction to return to the Archbishop, at the Cathedral Day.
We need to go talk.
Right. So let's cut to that scene of you guys walking the familiar cathedral halls now, alongside Archbishop Brecken, who seems regretful that Tasso could not be taken alive, but he understands that although all life is sacred and precious, that sometimes it's impossible to cease violence without further violence. So he appreciates the service that you have all wrought. He asks, I hope that no ill fortune or hurt befell any of you in the process.
Well, it was a scuffle, but we're fine in the end.
Well, somebody died in my arms while I tried to save their very life, so I'm a little scarred from that. So if I could talk to somebody, it would really make me feel better.
It's all right, Anushka, come here. It's not the worst day that you've ever had. It's the worst day you've ever had so far.
I'll just break down and cry.
There, child. It's not...
there. That'll make it all better. Gotcha. We are a child. I'm an adult.
We are all children of the light of Sa'almer.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. I would let a priest talk to you.
He says there are priests. There are people here that you could talk to lighten your burden. And with Salumer's blessing, we may all continue to toil through the strife of our existence, knowing that our lives are points of light in His Grace, etc.
His
Their Grace, I guess.
whose grace?
The Light's Grace.
Sorry, I haven't
Anyway.
finished
Makes me
seminary.
feel-
Sorry?
I suppose it makes me feel better.
Yeah. I mean, Brecken, he seems like someone who he's got that guidance counselor thing. If you brought your problems to him, you feel like he wouldn't judge you too harshly. But he's got other concerns, given that he is Archbishop here in Triskellion. So he says, I applaud you on your task so quickly. Obviously, there were no errors made in hiring you all.
Of course, there
Your
were.
payment, your payment will be delivered. We need to collect this again. I'm surprised by the quickness, the celerity of which you accomplished your task, but soon you will have it. In the meantime, and I regret to mention this because it was not part of my initial understanding of the bargain, but the king has expressed interest in your dealings with the bandit and what it took to neutralize him. He wishes that you take time today to visit the castle and meet with his head of guard, captain of the guard, one Santiago, I believe, a jackal, who wishes to debrief you on this task. And he pauses, considering his words. He says he may have an additional task for you if you are willing to continue your service of the crown. But I have no further details.
And before we go, what of the village? He has rescinded his order, has he not?
As far as I know, yes.
That's good.
When I delivered the news, I was told that a complete investigation would be in order. I assume that your debriefing is part of that.
I see. Well, I suppose we should not keep him waiting then.
Quite. And if there's anything else that you need of the church, you have made a friend here at the cathedral. So may Salumer bless your path.
And yours as well. I guess then I'll look to everyone else. Anyone have anything against going and speaking to the captain of the guard?
I do have additional things that I need to take care of at the palace, so if you could go ahead and speak to the guard without me, I would like to go ahead and seek my audience while we are there.
All right. You can pursue your business as much as you want.
Thank you, Dad.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to
thought
find out
I
what you're
was
up
the
to.
father.
Okay. All right. Well, then, the rest of the party, with the exception of Father Elrich, will seek an audience when you are granted access to the palace. You are led into a large, lavishly decorated meeting room of sorts, where currently all of the doors are guarded. Pretty much every hallway and doorway in the place has the Triskellion guard and the royal guard posted there. Many of them canine, all of them wearing just beautifully crafted plate armor. You are led into the room and asked to be seated at a long, quite overly long table. And about 15 minutes later, a man enters, a jackal enters in, flanked with further guards. This jackal is noteworthy. He's dressed head to toe in black leathers. He has a quite elaborate, large hat. Think musketeer with a large black feather in it. and a black eye patch, but his fur is stark white, and his one staring eye is bright pink. This is the jackal. He introduces himself in a bit of a raspy, gruff voice. He says, "Thank you for meeting us here. I am Santiago de la Vega. I speak on behalf of the king, and I heard that you are the adventurers who subdued the great bandit Tassobianco. I suppose you think you're quite skilled at these matters, succeeding where the Royal Guard and the Triskellion Guard have failed."
I'm a professional and a perfect warrior, and I will not deny that.
He gives you a detestable sneer. He says, "Well then, there's just the matter of the debriefing. I have a few questions to ask on behalf of the king. First of all, you engaged with the bandits and were able to succeed, to be victorious over them. What kind of armaments did they have, and how was it that you were able to drive them off and to kill their leader so quickly and efficiently?"
They had nothing but bows and arrows. They were interested in ambush tactics, and so we gave them the opportunity to do so. They were interested in harassing noble caravans. So we created a caravan. A simple little trick. It lured them out just as we expected it would. Their leader came, and Connor engaged in one-to-one combat with them out on the road, while we dealt with the archers out in the trees.
I see. Oh, so, Sir Connor, I suppose you are handy with a sword, then?
I can get by.
Quite. All right. Next question. The rumors of there being supernatural activity in the area, I assume these are just fairy tales told by the locals. Were you able to corroborate any supernatural presences during your investigation?
It was not our mission to.
That is a...
Connor will look over the Gaston, but take the hint.
Sorry, with what?
Connor will give a glance over the Gaston, but he will take the hint.
Okay, he says that is a carefully crafted answer, but let's say outside the realm of your investigation, no strange happenings?
I'm expecting someone else to answer here. I'm trying to figure out what I'd say.
Well, there was the weird shadow monster.
I feel like this is a telltale game, right? You can answer with nothing.
There you go.
Silence for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, but I would volunteer
wanna?
that there was a weird shadow monster.
A shadow monster. He seems completely nonplussed and just lets this awkward moment hang in the air.
I will describe in very specific detail my encounter with it. I'm very good at this.
All right. As you continue your description, his interest seems to increase gradually, but never peaking to the point of actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was even
further
talking
questions.
about how it landed. It appeared. It spoke to us. It spoke to me. It gestured like it was offering me something of some sort of weight, like a bedroll or a sword, but I couldn't understand any of it. And then it disappeared. Apparently, it somehow communicated with Tasso, before he died. I mean, I'll recount all of this.
Okay.
You just spill it all. Got it.
I'll have spill it. Listen, none of you guys stop me. Deceit is not something I know.
Nobody gives you the leg
Nobody
kick
knows
or the
deceit
foot
here.
stomp or anything.
One of my favorite jokes from IT crowd. Ow! Why are you giving me the secret signal to shut up?
Yeah. Okay. All right. he considers this, and he kind of like looks at the rest of you, sort of gauging your reactions to this information. But then he proceeds, final question. The bandit Tasso, was he working alone, or did he have other agents who may still be operating for his cause?
He had archers. He has a gang, but I don't believe that they will continue operating as long as he is not there.
Those guys who shot at us were skilled because they had veteran aiming. Like when they paused to aim, their arrows hit their mark. I mean, they successfully shot Connor. So, and the father. But the people there told us that there were bandits in the woods. I'm assuming that Tasso recruited the outlaws who already lived in the woods to go ahead and help, since all of those guys were, veteran fighters. But we didn't actually have a chance to talk to any of them. Tasso just wore this mask and, said his cause, and he apparently is being assisted by a creature from beyond the veil.
Right. And along those lines, what kind of proof do you have that this body you brought us was Tasso, beyond this ghoulish mask? I'm assuming you guys didn't hand over the journal yet, I guess. If you had...
have the journal. I have the journal.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll just point at Father and say,
I'm not with you.
He's not there right now, yeah. He's doing his
he's
own
not here to give it over, even.
Yeah, well, we had the journal, but one...
I'll probably, take the lead as soon as we start saying, we have that.
Yeah, well, do you still have it? Also in his body, now, Tasso is a seditionist, but was he blooded? Was he a noble?
Well, they do have the body, right? That is something he did turn over to the church.
Right. If he was a noble, he would probably have a signet ring or some other identifier on him. I say probably because he did not.
He did not, no. So
okay,
he was...
No, you don't have that.
Common birth.
So all we have is a 3-day-old body, which none of us know how to preserve.
Yeah. Probably a little stinky.
Right.
And
currently, I imagine the church.
How did you guys kill him?
Oh, it was
the face.
Buckler to the face. It was Connor's attack, right?
Caved in his skull with a buckler.
Oh.
Well, he wasn't overkill. He was only dying.
Sure.
I mean, he's just still a recognizable corpse.
Yeah.
What was the question precisely again? How do we know this is Tasso?
How do we know it's Tasso? And the answer is, well, someone needs to identify the body.
Oh, my answer is the bandits took orders from him, and he came to an ambush dressed as the leader. I'm very certain that this is the leader of the bandits, then.
Yes, of course. No one is questioning that. It's simply a matter of you all being unknown agents. This is royal business, and we cannot be too careful, so we need to verify our facts and findings. Again...
I upon my title that this was Tassobianco.
All right. He nods. You're just getting nothing but disgust off of this guy, even in the presence of a noble. And I guess you assume that he's a noble too, although he's got kind of like a hideous visage to him. Just the way he's dressed, the fact that he's captain of the guard to begin with. And that's how Connor had his lands revoked. Yeah. But he's not going to press. He's not going to press the point. All right. Before we fully conclude this scene, I want to quickly jump over and just get some idea of what the hell Father Eldritch is up to. I don't know if you want to do that privately or if you're cool with saying it for the class, but I need to know.
Yeah.
Give me something.
I brought all the gum. We're good. I mean, yeah, I'm fine. I am going to pass along the journal directly, or as directly as possible, to Vaslov himself, and inform him that there's a shade in the woods identifying itself as the former King Rinaldi.
Okay.
And using the journal as evidence of such.
Right. So you're not able to gain direct audience with Vaslov, but you are able to speak to one of his, retainers, secretaries, essentially, who assures you that anything that you pass along will go directly to the king. No one will tamper with it in between.
The unwritten thing being says, I'm going to use this for my own further advancement. This is how I get ahead.
There you go. As you tell them what the contents of all of this is, they look increasingly like concerned and a little bit startled. And that's good information because I kind of need that. So jumping back to the other room, there's going to be a we'll say that the timeline works such that probably after half an hour of this questioning, King has had an opportunity to see these documents. Father Elrich, you've been asked to go and join the others in the debriefing room if you can. And the as you get there, there is a clerk who has also made his way into the room and is whispering something into De La Vega's ear. And he says, "Yes, all right. I want to say up front that this is not my decision. Personally, I have no time for common folk and wandering thrill seekers such as yourselves. But our king has made a request of you, and since you've proven yourselves to be not completely incompetent, I shall pass it along. It appears that there is intelligence that this bandit group, the Revenants, was defending some sort of item that is of sensitive nature to the crown. We wish it to be recovered, if at all possible. Apparently, this item is well guarded by some sort of supernatural presence, but of course that doesn't seem to have slowed any of you down, so I am quite confident in your capability to succeed. If you do accept this mission, you will be working directly for His Majesty, which means that you will be given all of the rights and privileges that go along with that for the duration of your quest. And you shall be compensated with monetarily, depending on if you manage to reclaim the item intact. Any questions?
One, out of character. Is this a goal that you're giving?
This is, yes, this will be a goal that I will present. The goal would be to recover the, let's just say what it is. In fact, you probably also uncovered this in your reading of the journal. But the Rinaldi heirloom. So recover the Rinaldi heirloom.
There we go. Got that down.
And traditionally, I don't know. I've never like mentioned what the gift reward for accomplishing a goal is up front. I always do that at the end, but I don't know how
you usually
you guys
do that at the end.
You don't have to do it up front. Usually, we as players should assume it's going to be something like Insider.
Right.
We should assume it's not going to be good. If we do especially well, it could be especially awesome.
I like that. We should assume it's going to be bad.
So that's sort of like just as a...
is not bad.
Yeah, just as a theory crafting thing, I guess. So generally speaking, the goals that are offered, they're not bad goals, they're just not very unique or interesting. And so it's the kind of thing where it would be an either or. It wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing to say, just like, nah, I'm taking the experience points.
That's what I typically do.
Cool. Okay.